G'day guys, it's Joel mate Big J here. Welcome to another edition of Aussie Boxing Talk. Bit of a special one today because we've actually got first guest on my YouTube channel, would you believe? And would you believe it's my old mate, Joey Mcallister. That's right, the chump, the man that keeps ducking me. He's too busy hiding behind his mother's skirt to have the balls to get in the ring with me. We're going to discuss that and many other things today about Australian boxing. So let me just bring him in here. Chump, how are you, mate? Welcome to the channel.
Mate, it's good to be here, mate. I'm going well.
So first things first, mate. People want to know why you keep fucking ducking me, you bloody gutless wonder. The people want the fight.
Oh, mate, I want to know why you're on the circuit. Why you're not on the circuit, mate?
I don't need to be on the circuit, mate. I'm bloody the biggest friggin' name in bloody YouTube Australian boxing. Everyone knows who I am, mate. I would like to get out there more, but what you need to do, mate, is stop being such a friggin' pansy. Get George to sign the contract so I can kick the living shit out of you. So, mate, I mean, honestly, the polls are in. I've got a 95% chance of knocking you out, right? You're like a 15 to 1 underdog. Mate, it's going to be embarrassing for you to get knocked out by a 43-year-old busted up soldier. So...
all in good time, my friend.
Bullshit. Quit ducking me. You've been throwing everybody's name under the sun, throwing every journo under the bus you can think of. Stop being such a pansy and just get it done.
I want to see what you got in there first, mate. I think you got to earn the shot.
Oh, fuck off, dickhead. Listen to this fucking... Fuck off, dickhead. Fuck off. Look, I will knock your fucking string cheese ass out in 30 seconds and you fucking know it. Grow a set of fucking balls and just get in the ring, you pansy. Because you know, you haven't got the balls to get in the ring as a superior athlete like me. And you'll know I'll fucking knock you out.
I don't think you deserve the payday.
Fucking who do you think you are? Tim Zoo, motherfucker. Jesus. Sorry, shouldn't blaspheme. Shouldn't be blaspheme. Anyway, we'll cut this shit because we've got serious topics to talk about today. Thanks for joining us on the channel today, mate. Appreciate that. Love the work that you do. Guys, if you haven't seen Jay's YouTube channel, mate, just give yourself a plug.
Yeah, mate, just Jay Mcallister, boxing and MMA. Check it out.
Yeah, mate, he does all the top work. He gets all the interviews for the right people. He goes overseas, lucky bastard. When did we meet? 2 years ago at the... No, it was before that. When did we actually meet each other? Haney 1 or Haney 2? It was Haney 2?
Did you go to Haney 1?
Yeah, I don't remember meeting you. I don't remember seeing you there.
I think I do remember vaguely. I'm pretty sure it was Haney 1 and then maybe Haney 2.
Yeah, more so Haney 2. Definitely Parker Opaloo is when we started. You said you could take me on and I just laughed at you.
Yeah, but it would have been around that time period.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good stuff. Good memories. So, mate, let's get into the business. Now, as people are or may not be aware, within the last, 36 hours? I think that's pretty accurate. It's not official yet, and you know more than me. Great interview that you had with George Rose the other day, by the way. But Tim Zoo looks like it will be getting the rematch with Sebastian Fundora. You know more than I do, mate. Tell the audience what's going to happen.
Yeah, so Tim Zoo, Sebastian Fundora, the rematch is on. I believe an official announcement is on its way. But they've thrown around a couple of dates there, late July, potentially in Las Vegas or New York. They're also talking about a potential dates early August, but that July 19th date was the one that was reported on the other day. So tremendous outcome for Tim Zoo, No Limit, all those guys, and a chance for Tim to right the wrongs of what happened in Las Vegas last March, and then led him down a path to the disappointment against Buckram, but a chance to correct what many saw was the outcome if the cut didn't occur against Fundora in that first fight.
Well, I mean, you and I, you and I both agree, mate, that if the cut didn't happen, that Fandora would have got knocked out inside of 6 rounds because Tim was lighting him up those first 2 rounds.
Yeah, because, obviously it's a 12-round fight, but I think when people say that, they seem to forget that the fight actually did go 12 rounds and Tim still won on one of the cards. So without the cut, you'd imagine that he could pick up a couple of points on one of those other judges' cards and he would have won the fight, whether it was on points or by stoppage. So
no, I think he would have knocked him out personally. I mean, he towed up Brian Mendoza, who knocked out Fandora. I have no doubt in my mind that Tim would have knocked him out. He would have got on the inside, cracked his ribs, Fandora would have dropped his head, and Tim would have uppercutted his head off. So...
Yeah. So, but you don't know. I mean, it's a different fight this time. They've both got a full camp to prepare. So, but I like to think that Tim has the little bit more X factor than Fandora. So
I agree. I mean, I think Fandora's a C grade. He's the luckiest fighter in friggin' boxing. He shouldn't have 2 belts. A, he never should have got the opportunity, and B, he's the luckiest bastard in boxing. So, for a low level fighter like Fandora, who's a C grade fighter, to have 2 belts is just, I mean, it's like winning the lottery. So.
Yeah, I think Fondora's probably better than people give him credit for, though, at the end of the day. I mean...
He is, but he's...
Such a tricky style.
Well, he's also 6 foot... He's a 6'5" man fighting in a 5'7" man's game. 5'9", I mean, most super welterweights are what? 5'9" on average? I think Tony Harrison's one of the bigger ones at 6'2". So, I mean, they all hover around that 5'9", 5'10" height. I mean, when someone is 6 foot... What is he, 6'6"? Yeah, one of those blokes rock up. Like, how do you deal with that? He's a unique fighter, so...
Yeah, so that's going to make the rematch a tricky fight, but I think, Tim in those first 2 rounds had got his distance and got his timing down pat, so if he could do anything like that in this fight, I think he could be a 2-time world champion come July.
Absolutely. And now, me and T Street did a video on this yesterday, as I've told you, and it could be potentially on the Manny Pacquiao Mario Barrios card or Tank Roach 2.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know anything about that in great detail, but wouldn't that be a chance for some exposure?
Absolutely. I mean, if Pacquiao's on Netflix, which I think Mario Barrios Pacquiao is supposed to be on Netflix, it's not confirmed yet, that's worldwide exposure with potentially billions of people watching. So...
and if it was to be a Tank undercard, I mean, I know Tim's a big fan of Tank, so and he's a big star in the US, so it's a great outcome all round, especially if you're a Australian boxing fan.
Yeah, the thing that disappointed me about it is that if this rematch come to Australia, which it should have, it would be the biggest rematch since Fennec Zuma Nelson #2. They could have easily got 30,000 people at McDonald's Stadium in Newcastle, which is where you are, right? Yeah, they could have got, well, they would have got 27 in the stands plus another probably 3 around the ring. They would have got 30,000 people there easy. And that would have been a massive gate plus a massive revenue. And plus, I'm a bit disappointed that the WBO belt is going to be dropped. And from what T Street told me the other day, that Crawford will most likely be elevated to the full champ. So that gives him 2 belts. Xander Zayas will either be paid to step aside or Crawford will drop a belt, which I doubt because Crawford has been a WBO champion in 3 divisions. If he gets this, it'll be his 4th for like 10 years straight. I don't see Crawford dropping the WBO belt because that's the belt he's always had through every single division. From 135
I also saw that Zayas and Perez were going to fight for the vacant title.
Okay, when did you see that? Was that today?
I saw an article a couple of days ago. Could be wrong, but
okay.
really depends what Crawford's going to do, because if he fights Canelo in September, he probably won't return until some point next year. So
exactly. The worst thing about Terence Crawford is he's not active enough. He's not.
no,
I mean,
no.
in a way, fights 3-4 times a year. Canelo fights at least twice because he fights May and September. Out of all the undisputed champions, Crawford fights the least. So, and just on that fight, and I've said it to you many, many times, I think Crawford's going to get beaten badly by Canelo, because Canelo is a younger, stronger, not taller, because Canelo's only about 5'7". I think Crawford's 5'9". The more active fighter. And Crawford's never fought it that way, so I see it going badly for Crawford. I think Canelo's going to outdo him. So
yeah, I disagree, because I mean Charlo went the distance, and Crawford's is Crawford's exceptionally skilled. So I think Canelo could get him late, but I also could see if Crawford can take Canelo's punch. I think
that's the
swing
factor. That's the factor. He's never fought at 168. He's never been hit by someone as big as Canelo. So.
Yeah, but if he can take the punch, then he could easily outpoint Canelo with his skills. But on Tim Tszyu, I think the reason the fight isn't in Australia is Fondora doesn't want to give up any advantages. That's as simple as that, I think. That's
what T Street said. I mean, his team and all that, why would they want to come over here to Australia, even though he probably get anywhere between $4 to $5 million coming here to basically give up his belt, which pretty much, I think Fundora knows in his heart of hearts that Tim is going to come back and come out at him hard, and it's going to be a very, very hard fight. So
yeah, it's a tough fight on both ends, but I think it's a tricky fight for Tim, whereas it's a tough fight for Fundora.
I agree. I agree, and as I said on T Street's channel, if Fundora uses his reach and his footwork and keep Tim away from him, it's going to be a very difficult night for Tim. Yes,
but he was doing that in those first two rounds, and Tim was parrying the jab and landing over him. So, interesting fight, but great outcome. And, Tim could be a two-time world champion in 3 months' time. So.
Exactly, and that leads the door open to the Crawford fight. Once, because it won't happen until next year. And, of course, as we were speaking on the phone earlier today, or was it yesterday, the Thurman fight. So even though Keithy has done himself a mischief and he's been sort of shafted out of the fight, potentially, if Tim wins, Thurman would be a very lucrative and easy defence.
Yeah, well, also Charlo's looking to come back as well.
I think
Tim Tszyu with a belt is a very lucrative commodity.
Absolutely. I think the Charlo fight's not as significant as what it was 3 years ago when it was supposed to happen the first time, because Charlo's only going to have one belt. So, and Charlo's been...
But, Tim Tszyu with a belt, these guys want to fight him without a belt, so... If he has a belt, you can imagine everyone wanting to fight him then. So.
Oh, exactly. And it's been proven that Tim can be beaten, so, people would be like, well, he's not unbeatable. He has been beaten twice, so Tim with a belt is a very, very... he'll have a target on his back, without doubt.
Yes, but, you take away that Buckram loss, mate, and you've got a little asterisk beside that Fondora.
Yeah, the Fondora fight
is actually quite good. But what about the work from the promoters and the management
ridiculous.
To this fight? Top tier.
Top. Well, mate, you've got to give No Limit credit. They're the only domestic level promoter in Australia that gets their fighters world title fights pretty much single-handedly. They don't have assistance from an Eddie Hearn or, well, PBC's sort of, but, I mean, PBC's a sinking ship. They're hanging on by their fingertips. So...
Yeah, there's some great opportunities for fighters, and then you got guys like Jaya Pattaya, Justice Hoon, and Connor Wallace over there at Tasman doing great things, and Tim, Nikita, Liam Wilson, Liam Paro, Sam Goodman, Zarafa over there at No Limit. So it's a it's a good little scene at the moment in Australian boxing.
Well, I mean, we had 20 world title fights last year, and I'm pretty sure No Limit was like 13 of them. Well, No Limit fighters were like 13 of them. So, actually, probably at least half, because Jai took up 2, Sky Nicholson took up 3. It was either they were either No Limit or Matchroom fighters. That was pretty much it for world titles.
Yeah, it's a great time to be in Australian boxing.
Exactly. So we'll get on to the announcement today that it is official that George Kambosos Jr. will be challenging Richardson Hitchens, I couldn't get his name right, for the IBF 140 belt. You and I both know that 140 belt, IBF has a good history with Australian boxing. Of course, Kostya won it, 3 times? Lovemore Nadu won it. And to possibly be in the hands of a born and bred Aussie.
I think Robbie Peden had it too, didn't he?
No, he was 130, mate. He was 130, super feather.
But he had the IBF though, didn't he?
Absolutely, but he had the 130 belt.
The 130, okay.
Yeah, he had the 130 belt. So, for George to get this.
Yeah, it's tremendous news for George. Another great opportunity back to the scene of the one of the greatest wins in Australian boxing history there against Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
Same arena, same venue. Can he pull it off again?
Yeah, can lightning strike twice? Can he catch lightning in a bottle twice? I hope he does, but he hasn't looked the same since the Lopez fight, because Haney won. Haney just beat him off the jab. There's no nice way to say it. Haney beat him off a jab and made him look amateurish. So 2 was a bit better. George put in a bit more of a effort. Maxie Hughes, most people think that George lost that fight. Me included. I thought Maxie Hughes won that fight. And of course against Lomachenko, even though it was probably one of his better performances, he gets stopped in the 11th round. So...
Yes, but then he's gone and he's secured himself a title shot at a different weight. You've got to give credit to his manager, Big Jim Kambosos. Lou DiBella there as well. Eddie Hearn. There's George himself. They've secured him a title shot, mate. And anything can happen in these fights, and I'll tell you what, George will believe he can win, and he might just pull it off.
I hope he does. I want him to, because I want him to become a world champ again, so that we could get the Paro Kambosos fight that we wanted, 12 months ago?
Yeah, so, I mean, Hitchens is an exceptional boxer. Great amateur background. That Mayweather sort of system. But if George can bring a bit of that ferocious Kambosos style back that he had 3-4 years ago, who knows? Who knows? How good is Richardson Hitchens? We don't know yet.
Yes, well, I mean, he outboxed Liam Paro very easily in their fight. So, I mean, what did he win? 8 rounds to 4 or something like that? It was... It wasn't a shutout, but it was a clear win. So
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's the bookies will say that Hitchens will jab George all night long and cruise to a points decision. But as George said, quote George, that Hitchens is no Devin Haney. So
no, you're exactly right. Yeah.
If that's correct, then George could spring an upset, but
I hope he does. And
wait and see.
George's record overseas is impeccable, because he's never lost overseas. He's one of those rare Australian boxers who has not lost overseas. He's only ever lost. He's only ever lost at home. So
I think for George, he sort of thrives on being that underdog. Enemy territory, back against the wall. Sort of thrives on that, and I think, looking back on those 2 Haney fights, especially the first one, there would have been a lot of pressure on George. Hometown, big stadium.
Well, Melbourne's not his hometown, but
home country.
Home country, yeah.
So I don't know, mate. It's an interesting fight, but once again, you've got to give credit to the management, George himself, for putting himself in these positions. And
Absolutely.
George pulls this off, mate. He could go down as our most decorated, if he's not already, our most decorated fighter in history. The belts he's won.
Yeah. I mean, he's won more belts. I still wouldn't go that far. I still think Lionel Rose pips him because Lionel Rose won Undisputed and defended it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the belts, the number of belts.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's won.
He captured those with the one win.
Yeah.
And then Lexi Hughes. But,
yeah, I mean, physical belts won. Yeah, George would probably have it over pretty much everybody. Well, certainly Australian born and bred. He wouldn't come close to what Victor Chinian achieved. Or even Kosher, because Kosher won, IBF 3 times, plus the other 2. No,
yeah, he was undisputed in the 3-belt era.
Yeah. Well, the Ring magazine as well. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly born and bred. George is well above pretty much everybody. So,
you gotta give credit where it's due. And then if he was to beat Hitchens, it sets himself up perfectly there for a rematch against
Lopez.
And
that's a
big money fight.
That's a massive money fight. That's a massive money fight. Yeah, and unfortunately that won't happen here. There's no way in hell Lopez is going to come to Australia. It'll happen overseas. So, but I hope he can do it. The record is not in George's favour, but that's what he thrives on. I mean, up until the week before the Lopez fight, I thought he was going to last 6-7 rounds and Lopez was going to knock him out. So, yeah. I mean, things can change on a dime. One punch can change it all. So, you got to back George. I'm backing him to win, of course, but can he win? I'll just say this. He has to prove it in the ring. He has to prove it in the ring.
Yes.
That's my thoughts.
But I saw he headed over to the States today or yesterday, so he's obviously going to do his training camp over there, and he's obviously taking it very serious. So
that
he's
works.
Not just there to make the numbers, mate.
That works for him. Actually, speaking of that, I think Tim is actually better off training here because the camps that he had over in the US didn't work out for him. I think he's better off training in Australia. I don't know what it is, but when he trains at his home, he seems to be more focused. Maybe.
Who's that, George?
No, Tim. George is the opposite. George needs to train overseas.
Well, you say that, but I mean, he trained overseas for Fondora in that first fight, and I think that's the best Tim's ever looked in those first couple of rounds. So, I think the Buckram one, people have... there was a few extenuating circumstances there with the rehydration and... Not to make excuses, but I think there was, in the arena with lack of atmosphere and...
Oh, mate, it was a fucking... You were there. It was a fucking club show. You were there.
All of that could have contributed to a performance where you sort of think it's going to happen for you and you're just going through the motions.
Yeah, and also his
whatever else. But taking nothing away from Buckram, obviously...
well, you can't, mate, because he destroyed him inside of 3 rounds. Well, so. I mean, you can't take nothing away from Buckram because he destroyed him inside of 3 rounds. So, it's whichever way you cut it.
Yeah, Tim's got the opportunity now to right the wrongs, so we shall see.
Yeah, he's got to prove it in the ring, mate, but I think he will get Fondor. If he gets on the inside, like I said on T-Street's channel, Tim's going to crack his ribs and knock him out inside of 6 rounds. I don't think Tim's going to muck around this time. He's just going to absolutely belt the shit out of him. So, I hope he does. Right, on to the next topic. Jai Pataya. Who the hell's he fighting? I don't even know this bloke's name. What's his name?
Claudio Squaio.
Who the fuck's that?
He's an Italian fellow. Don't know much about him in the ring, but apparently he's a bit wild and throws big punches and this, that, and the other. I see Jai Pataya doing a bit more boxing in this fight. Showing off his boxing ability and skills. Against Naika, he was sort of walked straight forward and got involved in a bit of a dogfight. I think you see him, box and show his sort of what he did against Bradis in that first fight. But it's not the name Jai would want, but he keeps defending the belt, so sooner or later these big guys are going to fight him, you'd think.
Well, I mean, you can't really criticise Jai because the IBF approves of these fights, so the criticism's got to go towards the IBF because I'm like, can't they find a better opponent for him? But the IBF signs off on it, so you can't blame Jai, you can't blame his team because the IBF approves these things. So I put the blame, if there is any, and there's not really, squarely on the IBF for sanctioning such a low-level opponent. But that's how it works. So, I mean, until Jai gets a hold of Zudo Ramirez, I think he's still an unproven commodity at cruiserweight because besides Britis, who was damn near 40 years old when he fought him the first time, Jai's resume is pretty weak. All right? I mean, the domestic level guys that he's fought, like Mark Flanagan and I can't remember a couple of the other guys, were stronger than the 3 world title defences he's had, besides Britis. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, you can only beat who's put in front of you.
Yeah, true.
But, that first Britis fight, you got to give Jai credit. It's one of the most courageous performances from an Aussie.
Absolutely. Well, that's top 4 of all time.
Yeah,
Wins,
and then
easy.
He gets stripped of the belt and has to go win it again from Britis. I'd like to see Jai fight, someone like Bardu Jack, who's a champ. I think that's a winnable fight for Jai.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit going on with the WBC at the moment because there's like 3 guys that hold the belt. There's one guy in recess, there's an actual champion, and there's an interim champion. So I don't know what the WBC's doing at the moment, but it's a fucking mess.
So I'd like to see Jai either get that Zerto fight or fight someone like Bardu Jack.
Yeah.
Get some big names on the resume, but as a fighter, I mean,
he's
Jai's
phenomenal.
been near flawless except for a couple of scary, hairy moments in those Raiders fights. But I still think there's a lot more for Jai to achieve, and he's still young, and he's hasn't faltered. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and to be fair to Jai, the cruiserweight division's always been pretty weak anyway. I mean, if I said to you, name me 5 well-known cruiserweight champions, you'd be scratching your head. You could name 3, but I don't think you could name 5. I mean, I'm struggling. What? Usyk, Holyfield. Nothing. I mean, who else? I mean, the only cruiserweights you know are the ones that moved up to heavyweight and dominated there as well. I can't think of a cruiserweight that dominated in the division and is well known.
Well, just on that, I think a couple of years' time you could see Jai Patai head up to cruiserweight.
You mean heavyweight?
I mean head up to heavyweight from cruiserweight. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe when all these older guys, the Furies and the Usyks and the Joshuas and not the Dubai because he's only young. He's just still in his 20s. What's he like, 25? He's only a kid.
Yeah, he's young. He'll be something in the next few years.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great opportunity for Jai. His profile's building here in Australia as well. He's doing all the right things. He talks well. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a good look. He could really sort of take off here domestically because he is a big star over in Europe, particularly. Yeah,
that's right. And to his credit, that's the way he built him up. So, one last thing. So, the girls, I know you're not overly in depth with the girls' boxing, but what do you think about that Desley Robinson? I mean, have you even watched the fight? Desley Robinson versus Chloe Chaos about 2 weeks ago for...
No, how do I watch that one?
I know, I think it's on YouTube because it was on some streaming service I've never heard of and they wanted $40 for it. I'm like, bloody hell. Talk about pricing you out of business. I mean, okay, yeah, it was the most significant fight in Australian women's boxing history. 2 titles on the line. Desley defending her IBF title against the vacant WBO middleweight title against Chloe Chaos, who's, I think she's maybe got 7 fights to her name or something. I mean, Sam LaBruna deserves a lot of credit for getting that fight done, but that should have been on a no-limit show, considering Desley won the belt on a no-limit show against Kay Scott. instead of that Venezuelan guy having that sleepathon against that Danish guy, they could have put that on the last Tim Tszyu undercard against Joey Spencer. So,
it's
because No Limit do a lot for women's boxing. You know, they've got Shannon. They're trying to build Jazzy Parr up. Lynn Stanstrom, Shanika. What's Dargan? The Dargan girl's name. Glenn Rushton's girl. Yeah, they've got a lot of girls in their stable. But the number one who's got 2 belts, and they let it slip through their... I don't understand why they let that slip through their fingers.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one. Congratulations to Desley Robertson. She's a unified world champion. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to boxing's a business, and what fights and fighters are going to generate the most views, get the most eyeballs, sell tickets. That's really what it comes down to, and sometimes the fights don't generate that interest. So
yeah, but
they mightn't end up on the big cards. It's just sad, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, but that's the promoter's job to promote it. Hence the name promoter. I mean,
yes. But there's plenty of promoters in Australia. I don't think it falls on one particular promoter to be responsible to put fights on, you know?
No, it doesn't, but I just find it unusual how she won the belt on a No Limit show, and then she goes for the biggest prize in Australian women's boxing history. That's on a club show in Melbourne.
Credit to Sam LaBruna.
Damn right. Because
he managed to pull that one off. That's a good little coup.
Well, I mean, Sam LaBruna's done a couple of coups. Remember, he got Jamal Herring here last year against John Jackson England, and the year before that, he got Shanika Johnson her first world title.
Yeah. No, he's doing some good stuff there. And speaking of Sam LaBruna, one of his previous charges, Michael Zarafa, what's he? You're a Melbourne fellow. What's the latest with Mick?
Well, Mick has thrown his hand up to say that he wants to fight Thurman now that Tim's not going to do it. As I said on T Street, that fight does not generate half the revenue of probably a quarter of the revenue of a Tim Tszyu Thurman fight. I don't think Keith would take that fight. I don't think they could get him. They could get him enough money, or they could generate enough dollars to get Keith over here again to take on Mick Zarafa. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't.
Yeah, well, I saw Mick say he's going to fight at least 3 times this year.
And so he bloody should. That's good.
You would think he'd be on a couple of cards coming up, but the question is, who does he fight? I mean,
domestically, nobody. Because the only person worth fighting was Andre Mcallister, who lost his last fight to Blake Wells, was it? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wellesley, who's a domestic level guy, there's no point Mick fighting Mcallister because he's lost twice now. Really, the only person realistically for Mick to fight is Joel Camilleri, and that ain't going to happen. Those two are mates. Well, they've been in the same stable before, so...
I actually think domestically he's better off fighting at 154.
I agree. Domestically,
there's more opportunities domestically for him if
absolutely.
He wants to stay active at 154. But
I agree.
I'm sure his argument against that would be that it does nothing for his ranking at 160. But
well, that's perfectly true. See, problem is that Mick's stuck between a rock and a hard place because you're right. All the competition is at 154 domestically. You've got Colin Mazzutia, Nikita. Brock Jarvis. Oh, he would smack the living shit out of Brock Jarvis.
Brock Jarvis, Mihailovic is around there.
I mean, Mick would probably beat all those guys. I mean, even Nikita, he'd beat Nikita. Nikita's still too green to take on as Rafa at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I mean, Nikita had a barn burner against Colin Mazzutia.
He did. He did. Yeah, but
Colin Mazzutia is a very good fighter.
Yeah, but Mick Zarafa's not.
The fight to make is Mateo Tapia versus Zarafa.
Yes, that's the bloke I forgot. Yes, I think that would be a good domestic fight. I agree. I think great fight, and I give advantage Mick. Because has Tapia fought since the Venezuela guy gave him that hide?
Yes, he fought on the Brock Jarvis.
Thurman card. Yeah. How'd he go? I don't.
He won. I can't remember who he fought. Who did he fight?
Some bloke probably.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I think that is a great middleweight domestic level fight. And actually, the other bloke out there that they should get the bump up to middleweight, Wade Ryan. Has Mick fought Wade Ryan before?
Yeah, he fought him back in 2018. He beat him. Wade Ryan, he's fighting on this card coming up, Sam Goodman's card.
Yeah, that's right.
Tapia and Zarafa would be a great fight. And then you got Hardman there.
Yeah, Hardman and
Camilleri having a bit of back and forth. So.
Yeah, him and Joel Camilleri are dancing around each other again, having the old social media back and forth or whatever. So
yeah, so there's some great matchups there. So it'd just be nice to see them happen, you know.
Yeah. So in a perfect world, what do you want to see happen for the next 7 months to finish out the year?
I think we see Tim Tszyu recapture a world title, become a two-time world champion. George Kambosos has the potential to become what would you call George? He's won 5, 6, 7 belts, isn't he? But two-division world champion.
Two division, 3-time world champion. That's the way I'd say.
And a two-division champion. Jaya Pataya potentially unifying against Zerto Ramirez at the back end of the year. And then maybe the Maloney's, Jason Maloney can rebound.
Yeah.
Liam Paro can get himself back up there in contention, because I actually feel like he was very unlucky to get, to have had that defence against Hitchens over in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that felt like a little bit of a screw job, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, I don't know the backstory behind that, but
Eddie was contractually obligated to host a show in that arena. That's what T Street told me. So it was a contractual obligation to hold an event, because Hitchens and Paro weren't supposed to be on it. It was some other bloke. The bloke that Paro beat, what was his name? Matthias.
Subriel Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias, yeah.
So there's plenty of Justice Hooney could get a shot at something at some point.
I think if Justice fights that Moses kid, I think Justice is getting knocked out. That's
you got to take the opportunities when they come, mate. But that's a perfect world. But there's plenty to look forward to, mate. And when will you grace our
when will I grace you guys with my presence? Oh, when T Street shells out the dollars to do it, mate. I'm not a charity case, so. Well, you got all the bloody. You got all the money. Bloody, you start shouting me. You make more money than I do. You ain't got no kids. Shell out the cash. Well, if you got George to sign the contract, there'd be plenty of bloody money, wouldn't there? But he's still fucking ducking. So quit your shit. So, fucking laugh all you want, mate. You won't be laughing when you're looking up at the bloody. Lights on with your eyes rolling back at the head when you're laying on the canvas, you smart ass. So,
mate, I want you to shake off that ring rust, and then we'll talk. Mate.
Yeah, I'll give you a fucking ring rust, you little smart ass. Anyway, right, mate. Well, I appreciate you joining. Oh, one more thing, Sky Nicholson. A, what do you think of the fight? B, can she get the rematch done? I knew I forgot somebody.
Yeah, very disappointing for Sky Nicholson, but
I wasn't surprised she lost.
Tiara Brown too strong and too, but yeah, it was a scrappy fight.
Yeah, it was awful.
I don't know if the rematch is the fight for her at this point. Is there any other direction she can go in that weight division? Or?
No, there's not, because Amanda holds all the other belts and she ain't fighting at 120. I'm surprised that the sanctioning bodies have let Amanda keep the belts for so long, because she's fighting Katie Taylor for like the 5th fucking time. So, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the girls having a rubber match. But what I do have a problem with is that she's holding up the division where there's, other ladies that want to, that are worthy of title shots. But then again, the featherweight division is like, for women, is like cruiserweight for men. It's a very weak division. There's bugger all going on, really. It's pretty weak. I mean, where it's at for the ladies, me and T-Street have said this multiple times, is between 130 and 147 and bantamweight. Bantamweight's a hot division. Super bantam, not so much. Featherweight, nothing. 130 to 147 is where it's at for the ladies in world boxing. That's where all the big names are. Yeah, Alicia Bumgardners, your Katie Taylors, your Amanda Serranos, your Michaela Mayers, your Natasha Jonas's, Terry Harper. What other? You know, I'm sure I could rack off a few other names, but all those big names hover between that 20-pound limit of 130 to 150, 147.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what it
I
is.
think if that's the case, I think she should push for that rematch.
Or step up to 130 because there's a lot of potential fights she could have there. But I don't think she's got the skill set. I think those girls will towel her up pretty easy. So, but that's just me.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, but hopefully she can recapture a title at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, mate. Well, thanks for joining us here at Aussie Boxing Talk. I've taken up enough of your time. As usual, harden yourself the fuck up. Get George to sign the contract because I'm sick of you ducking me, mate. This is getting beyond the fucking joke. But, yeah, thanks for joining us here, mate. And like always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Tackle the ball, wrestle the croc, harden yourselves the fuck up. And we'll see you another day.